Well, hello there, everyone. How are you doing today? It is Sunday, July 31st, year 2022. Hopefully, you're doing outstanding. Here's a question. Can you stay young forever? No, you cannot. So, before I continue, first of all, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. I'm nothing. Basically, I'm just a little peon in the world, but I'm masky. And I try to help other people, but so many times people I think take me the wrong way. All I want to do is help society. That's all I want to do. I don't look down on anyone. I don't criticize anyone. Even though when I come out saying certain things, people think I'm criticizing them. I'm not. So anyway, with that being said, feel free to criticize my glasses. What do you think of them? New pair of glasses. I'm testing them out. I'm not sure if we're going to keep them or not. I got them from an online company. I don't really care too much how they look on me, but my prescription has changed, so they're better for distance. And if I'm trying to look close up, I'm at that age, I think I need transitions. But with my old glasses, they're smaller. I don't have them in here. I'd put them on to show you the difference. Slightly smaller, and I can more easily look under my glasses. Say I'm reading that paper, I can look under my glasses to see them. These are slightly larger, so it's harder to look under them or over them. So, but we'll see. I'll think on it. I got 14 days, so I'll think on it. So anyway, can you stay young forever? The reason I was going to talk on this topic is, and I'll try to generalize here in a way, I was communicating with a young relative recently, and they had bought a car. They got it's a nice car. It's a sporty car. It wasn't a brand new car. It's a sporty car. They had fixed it up somewhat, done this, done that. And I've been in touch with this young relative in the past, and they expressed to me that they could see themselves buying rental property one day. And they're young. They're in their early 20s. So anyway, they bought this car, and I just made a comment to them about something to think about. Instead of buying a car, what about you buy a rental house? Okay? And the reply, it was something, I'm don't go by memory here. It was something to the fact that they're only in their early 20s once. They're in their golden years. A car puts a smile on their face, a fat wallet doesn't. And I'm not sure where that fat wallet comment came from. I think the perception when you're dealing with family, and I've struggled with talking to family about investing because most of them, I think, not all of them, but some of them, take offense to what I'm saying for whatever reason. They think I'm a tightwad or I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. So what do you think? Can you talk to your family about financial stuff? Not just your family, like in your house. Like my boys both invest. My wife invests. But I'm talking about, extended family, let's say, family, siblings and kids and nephews and nieces and cousins and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, this person I think took me the wrong way. And because I do not have a fat wallet. But what my goal with investing has always been to improve my lifestyle. Okay? It has been to put me in a position where I can leave the workforce. Because for whatever reason, I've always been a great worker. Okay? I've always been a great worker. When I was in the Navy, I had 2 commanding officers. I was enlisted. I got 4.0 evals. I was physically fit. Everything was good on my evals. And I had 2 different commanding officers at 2 different duty stations call me in their office and try to talk me into putting in for OCS, Officer Candidate School. They both told me they would give their personal recommendation for them to accept me. I turned them both down, okay? Because I decided I wanted to get out of the Navy. And I still had years to go, but I wanted to get out of the Navy. Okay, in the police department, I was moving up quickly. I was Officer of the Year. But I had my mom die at a young age, and it just changed my paradigm on life, and I was like, jobs aren't everything. And that's about the same time I discovered the Motley Fool and discovered individual stock investing. Okay? But now, I put a question out on my mastermind group yesterday, and I only had 1 or 2 people answer me. And it was like, if you're older than your 20s, if you could go back in time, would you have bought your first rental property, say, prior to the age of 25? I was 49 when I bought my first one. Emphatically, I would say yes. I would have. I bought a house when I was like 25 years old. I bought land when I was 19 years old. But I didn't know what I was doing. I had no YouTube channel to tell me what to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I didn't know what to do. So, but anyway, most people when they're older, regret spending so much money when they're younger. Because as time passes, a lot of people start struggling. And what happens, and they don't maybe realize they're struggling, but they are struggling. Because what happens is lifestyle creep moves in. What happens is, not everybody, but people get in relationships, have children, and life is expensive. And if you have kids, life is expensive. If you get pets, they're expensive. I had to get my flip-flops on. Everything costs money. It's called lifestyle creep. Okay? So your golden years to buy that nice car when you're in your early 20s, your golden years I've always thought was when you're older. That's your golden years, when you're older, not when you're younger. And the point I would like to make, this person will never watch this video, but the point I would make if you're young is you sacrifice a little bit when you're young. If you don't have a job giving you a good paycheck, you sacrifice a little bit. And why don't you have a job paying you a good paycheck? Because to get a great job paying a high paycheck, you have to sacrifice. You either have to study, go to school and pay all that education and sacrifice, or maybe you're an athlete and you got to be the top of the dog pile, very tippy top. You have, what's that old saying? 10,000 hours. It takes 10,000 hours to get good at something, really good. And the odds are against it. Same with music, same with acting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the deck is stacked against us as normal human beings. Okay, that's just how it is. The way we can change the deck and move it into our favor is by starting investing. Okay, when I look back on things, when I bought a car prior to turning 16 years old. I paid for it myself. It was my money. I worked. I bought a car. And I wrecked that car. And after a little bit of time, I got in a little bit of trouble, I bought another car. I didn't wreck that one. But if I could have learned, I still would have wanted a car, but if I had known, and that's pretty young, 15 years old, to buy a rental property. But say by the time I was 20, 21, 22, if I had this channel to teach me, and I had found the ability to learn to buy a rental property, it could have changed my life. How could it have changed my life? Say I was a car person. Say I'm like my young relative and I love cars. I used to love cars. I still love cars. But if I love that car, if the best car I can afford right now is, I'll make something up, because I've had these in my family. Say it was a Honda Civic, a sporty one, a sporty Honda Civic, or a Toyota Corolla, or a Camry, or an Accord, whatever. We've had Civics in my family, we've had Camrys in my family, we've had Accords in my family, no Corollas. But say we had one of those cars, especially you get one for a young person, you can soup it up, make it a little sporty. Okay, especially a little Civic, you can make it sporty. Okay, that's fine. But on the flip side, let's say that was $10,000, just as an example, and you got to have a car to go to work. So say you spend $5,000 on the car, so you got $5,000 left over, and you work a job, so you save some of that money, and you get 10 grand. If you have 10 grand, can you buy a rental property? It's hard. The easy answer is yes, you can, but it's hard. Most people won't, because it involves creative financing. So you need a little bit more for the average person to buy a rental property. Let's say if you get $15,000. But if you get 10, can you get 15? If you get $15,000, can you buy a rental property? I think you can. Now, do you need more money than that for reserves? Yes, you do. Can you be working a job building up? Possibly. I'm not going to say you can or you can't. Possibly. But once you get your first rental property, it's not a lot, but now you're on the property ladder. You have a house. And let's say it cash flows $250 a month. So now you have an extra $250 a month. You're getting a little bit older because time keeps passing. Hopefully that means your job is paying you more money because you're moving up in the career field. You're getting a little bit more money. So you don't increase your everyday expenses, and you save your next down payment just a little bit quicker. So you buy house number 2. Now you have $500 a month positive cash flow, but maybe some rents have been raised, so maybe you got $600 a month positive cash flow. Now a year or 2 or 3 have gone by, so rents have perhaps gone up. But let's just stick with 500 for easy math. You do the same thing for house number 3. You do the same thing for house number 4. They all get, you can buy them all a little bit quicker because you can save money faster because you have positive cash flow coming in. Now you got 4 houses. You got $1,000 a month positive cash flow coming in. But let's say now rents have gone up. So now you got $1,200 a month positive cash flow coming in. Will that change your life? Probably not. Not monetarily. But let's say you stopped right there. You don't want to be greedy. You don't want to get a fat wallet and just keep, because that doesn't make you happy. You want to buy some cars. By this time you're what? Say you're 21 and let's say you're 26, 27. You got an extra $1,200 a month, 26, 27. Your job field has improved just a little bit. You got a little bigger paycheck. Let's say you go out and you buy a nicer car. You know, say you buy one instead of $10,000, you get one $25,000, $30,000, $50,000. As long as you can pay for your car, as long as you can pay your normal living expenses, and as long as you can cover your mortgages, taxes, insurance, all repairs that are needed, you just hold on to those houses, and because you don't want to go in that direction, but you bought them when you're in your early 20s. Okay? If nothing changes, you never decide to pay them off, you never pay any extra, you never buy any more, that's all you do, you just hold on to them. You live your life. You buy a sporty car. You buy another sporty car. You get a big house. But you keep those 4 rental properties. Sure, you might have to put a new roof on one of them periodically, or an HVAC in one, or you rehab it. But you keep them. And eventually 30 years passes. And now you're the age I am. You're in your early to mid 50s. I'm mid 50s, but you're in your early to mid 50s by then. And you pay off all 4 of those houses. And using today's dollars, not dollars 30 years in the future, because I don't know what rents will be 30 years in the future. Using today's dollars, you now have, let's just say, rent was $1,000 a month on these 4 houses. Something like that. And you don't have mortgage to pay anymore. You still got to hold money back for maintenance, repair, maintenance and capital expenditure and stuff. But you don't necessarily need to hold it back for vacancies because you don't have mortgages. So let's say rent's $1,000. So say, I don't know, $750 to $800. We'll do 800 for easier math. Now $750. I always try to be conservative. We'll do $750 per house, and because the rest, you still got to pay tax and insurance. So we'll say $600. We'll just bump it on down, $600 in today's dollars. All right. So now you got $600, $1,200, $1,800, $2,400 in today's dollars. $2,400 extra for kind of like doing nothing. That's all you did all your life. You had fun. You bought every car you wanted. You bought a house. You lived your life. And that's all you did was bought 4 little rental properties. You never put a lot of money in your wallet, just like Mazke's never put a lot of money in his wallet. But Mazke's still growing his portfolio. But Mazke's living his life. And Mazke's living the life that he more desires to live. He has his swimming pool, he has his dock, he has his tiki hut, he has his kayak. He lives in South Florida. He doesn't scrape ice anymore. He doesn't shovel snow anymore. That sort of thing. Mazke has options on what to do. Mazke could sell everything he has and just kick back somewhere and live a much nicer life if he wanted. As long as he didn't live to be too old and run out of money. Okay? But as a young person, you're in your golden years. I think that's the wrong word to use, but that's okay. Because you're only young once, right? You're only young once. But what is a better time to get on a property ladder than when you're young? Because if you get started when you're young, everything changes. Everything changes. Life can get better. You can help other people. I'm moving into that position slowly where my goal is to help other people, not just with my channel. And I'll give you an example of what I'm planning. This same family that I have that does not seem to want my help for investing, my hope is what I can do next year is, I'm an Orioles fan. Most of my family, they like the Orioles. We grew up in Maryland. We pretty much like the Orioles. My hope is next year I can get a suite in the stadium for a game. And they're like $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, whatever they are, for a game. It's air conditioned, it's indoors, it has tables, it has seating. It has like a balcony, a mezzanine, whatever they call it, a deck, where you can be outside and watch the stadium. But there's TVs in there if you're sitting inside. Say you're not a huge baseball fan, you're chit-chatting, you can still see the big screen TVs up there, or you meander out and watch it live. But I hope to rent something like that. If I can swing it financially, I'll get it catered and provide the food and whatnot. And that's not something I don't think anybody else in my family has done, because most people cannot afford to do something for everybody. I'm trying to give a little bit back. That's just to my family. And I want to provide an experience for them. It'll cost me several $1,000s, plus I got to get up there, fly up there, pay lodging, etc. It's going to cost me easily $5,000, $6,000 if I do it. Okay? But that's one of my goals. Another goal is just to more help society in some fashion. I don't know that fashion yet. I'm not going to go stand on the street corner and hand out $5 bills to everybody. I might do it one time. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. But the point is, if you're young, you got to get started. Because if you don't get started when you're young, it gets harder as you get older. And even though you may want to, it won't work out. You meet that special person. You get caught up, you start dating. You end up getting married. You have a child. You get a house. You have 2 cars. Kids grow up. You got to pay field trips and braces and sporting events and shoes and clothing. And next thing you know, you wake up and you're on that hamster wheel. You're stuck. You're working the job. Your back hurts. You're old. And you don't have anything besides your family. I mean, that's still good. And your house. And if you got a little bit of frugality, maybe you paid off your personal home early, so you're okay. But it could be so much better. Why do we have to, what's the right word? Why do we have to set our bar here to just be okay, when we can set our bar up here and be more than okay, but also we can start giving back to our family, our community, our country, something. We can start giving back in some fashion. So I'll leave you with that parting thought. Do you want to get to that point? Do you know a young family member you can try to impart some words of wisdom to, some financial words of wisdom? Will they be receptive to it? Will they not? But if all of us here collectively can help ourselves to invest better, we all have options in the future of things we can do. Okay? All right, good enough. This got long. Shoot, man, I'm at 18 minutes here. All right. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Mazske is signing out.